Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Withdrawn Goddess, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my background in photography. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching. Alright, so the reason I'm making this video, you guys, is because I recently watched a video about Doechii and how she started her career from her YouTube video when she was reading this book, The Artist's Way. And I got inspired to start my own journey and start reading it because I've lost my passion for photography and I really want to rekindle my creativity, which is why I also started cosplaying and a few other creative hobbies this year. Before I started making a video about me reading the book and how it's working for me, I just wanted to let you guys know my background and why I'm trying to do it in the first place. So to start off, this is my camera. It is the Canon 70D. I've had this for a few years now. It's about 10 years old, I think. Right now I have the 50mm lens on it. And I also have a 24-70, but it's really big. And if you guys want a what's in my camera bag video, just let me know and I can definitely do that. But right now I'm just trying to, you know, tell you guys my little background in photography. So I guess to start off, I'll start from the beginning. I'll just leave this right here. So when I was young, all I would do is color. I was really into coloring. I loved vibrant colors and anime, of course. So anytime you saw me, I was coloring. I was either coloring or doing something creative like arts and crafts and stuff like that. Yeah, it started off with coloring. And then eventually I had a family member that was in school for graphic design and she used me as her model. And that's how I got interested in photography. So I still colored and everything, but I started to want to actually take photos and do something different. And when they were doing their photography classes and using me as my model, I think that's what got me interested in photography. And then as I got older, I think America's Next Top Model came out. I remember everybody was in love with the show and I really fell in love with it too. At first, I thought I wanted to model. So I did try modeling out for a while, but it turned out I was just awkward and too shy, y'all. And then I started to realize, oh, I don't want to model. I want to be behind the scenes and be a photographer. Because when you watch America's Next Top Model, usually they have really cool setups, themes, backdrops, cool hairstyles and outfits and stuff. So I think I was more interested in that and didn't realize I was more interested in taking the photos and being the creative director versus the model. And once I started modeling or trying it out, that's when I discovered, oh, I'm just too awkward. So fast forward, once I graduated high school, I actually went to college for visual communication, which is basically graphic design. And I took different art classes. I learned how to use Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and a couple of other programs. I was never good at drawing, but when it came to like designing things on the computer, I was a little better at that. And that's where I discovered that I was really good at photo retouching. So this is still when I didn't have a camera. So I got really good at photo retouching. And I was like, oh, I'll just save up for a camera. And in the meantime, I'll just get really good at photo retouching and editing photos. So once I do get my camera, I'll already know how to do all that. And all I have to do is like click the button and take the photos. And while I was in college, I eventually did take a photography class and they gave us cameras to use for our assignments. And that's when I discovered, oh, it's actually worth the money. I'm gonna actually invest and buy my own camera. So I ended up just working a lot of hours as a waitress, saving up. And then during that year in college, when around Black Friday, when everything goes on sale, that's when I bought my camera. And I actually bought it as a kit. So it came with the camera, the tripod, the kit lens, a bag, and I think like cleaning supplies. But that's how I got started with photography. And then I discovered some of my favorite photographers. So there's a lot, but I'll just list a few. So Laura Jade, Lindsay Adler, Brooke Shaden, And then some YouTubers that I really fell in love with were Jessica Kobasi, I think that's how you say her last name, and then Irene Rudnick, I think. And also, I'm gonna mess up his name on purpose, but Brandon Waffle, I love him too. But yeah, I started getting really into photographers who were on YouTube who I could watch and learn from. And I also bought a lot of photography books and learned from that. And I just really started doing a lot of self-portraits, teaching myself how to use my camera, and just using myself as the subject. I was still camera shy, but since I was just in front of the camera with no one else around, it was easier compared to being in a room with a photographer, a makeup artist, and a bunch of other people, and everybody just staring at me while they took my picture. For a while, I did get really inspired by Brooke Shaden because she's a self-portrait photographer. Her photos look very artistic. I kind of became really good at self-portraits and just expressing myself that way. And I did try to find other people to take photos of, but at the time when I was in college, I didn't really have many friends, and the ones that I did have on campus, we had different schedules, so I really was never able to find people to take pictures of. So fast forward after college, I was still really into self-portraits, but I decided, hey, doing a regular 9-to-5 isn't really for me. I would really love to make money from doing what I love and my passion. So I started freelancing. I moved to a different area, which is Virginia. I'm currently in Virginia right now. And once I moved here, I started freelancing and also asking people if I could be either their photography assistant or their second shooter. And I actually learned a lot that way. So if anyone is interested in starting photography, I would definitely look into trying to be someone's photo assistant, their second shooter, or just ask around and see if someone is willing to let you watch them take photos. But I started out as a wedding photography assistant, so I would be the second shooter at wedding photos. But what I really did was edit the photos for them because they liked how I edit. And I do feel like I'm mainly a photo editor, and anyone can basically take the photo as long as it's correctly exposed and I can edit it in my style and then send it off to whoever took the photo. But yeah, I worked for the wedding photographer for a while, and eventually it got just too much for me. It was a lot of running around and just not the type of photography I wanted to do. I did learn a lot, but it just wasn't for me, so I stopped doing that. And eventually I found another photographer. I really liked their work, and they allowed me to be their photo assistant / second shooter again. And this photographer did the photos that I actually wanted to take. So that's when I was actually able to build my portfolio and start posting pictures online and getting my own freelance clients. The type of photos they took were a lot of high fashion, a lot of beauty portraits, stuff you would kind of see in magazines, so like editorial photos, and a lot of creative project photography. So I wouldn't really help them with their clients, but if they ever had trade for shoot photos, like when they're working with models, like everyone's working together to build up their portfolio, then I was there. So I really do appreciate working with that photographer, and they helped me to build my portfolio and go out on my own and have my own freelance clients. And that leads to me when I was doing my freelance work, working on my own and dealing with clients. So in the beginning, it was fine, it was all right. But over time, I kept getting very frustrated and burnt out because of the clients in the area. I feel like because Virginia is such a small area, more settled down and for families and raising kids, and not really a creative place or meant for anyone looking for the type of photos I wanted to do, it was very difficult to have clients and deal with them. A lot of people, they would try to get me to lower my prices, and I feel like they were already a fair price. I was charging $150, and I was giving them basically all the photos edited in Lightroom, and then they could choose, I think, 3 to 5 photos that were fully edited in Photoshop with actual face retouching. And they had an option to get 1 revision if they didn't like something, but I never had to re-edit anything. Usually they like the editing. Yeah, basically the clients just got too much for me. They kept trying to get over on me, trying to get me to lower my price. They would have an attitude kind of like, oh, I'm paying you, so you have to do what I say, or we have to do things my way because all you're really doing is clicking a button. And a lot of people assume, oh, photographers, they're rich because their equipment is so expensive. But me personally, I don't have the money for photography equipment, even though my photos looked really nice because I studied Photoshop for so long. I was still struggling to pay bills, which is why I wasn't doing photography full time. I was just doing it on my days off and then working my office job on weekdays. And people would I kept just getting more and more clients coming to me with like sob stories, or, oh, I really need these photos because this, that, and the third. And me personally, I feel like photography is a luxury service. And if you don't have the money for a high-end photographer or whatever, then you definitely could just go to JCPenney Portraits, like some sort of affordable photo studio in the mall, or you can use your own digital camera or your phone. So it just was very frustrating for people coming to me with sob stories or acting like I owed them because they could give me exposure by posting the photos later or something like that. So it just really got on my nerves. It really got to me. Basically, it got to the point where I felt like I wasn't living in a place where I had the right clientele, if that makes sense. Because with the photos I like taking, it would be like high-end and creative photos, kind of meant maybe like for magazines or for working with other creative people, basically. Because I really enjoyed more of doing creative projects versus doing basic portraits for clients or family photos or stuff like that. And I do feel like a lot of photographers, they succeed more when they move out of small towns and they go somewhere like Atlanta, LA, DC or something like that. And currently I'm still in Virginia. I wasn't able to move to the city because it's just too expensive. I was never able to get more money freelancing or be able to travel and get paid to go somewhere to take photos, but I do know there's other photographers who do that. So eventually I got really burnt out. I also deal with chronic pain. I have really bad chronic pain in my upper body and lower body from a car accident. And if anyone knows, when you're taking photos, to get good angles, you have to get either really low to the ground or really high up and do some very crazy poses to get a good shot. So eventually I ended my freelance business and I stopped doing photography. I lost my passion. I lost my drive. I just really didn't feel like doing it anymore. I was frustrated and I thought, oh, if I take a break and come back, then everything will be good. But it wasn't. I didn't even feel like doing personal projects anymore because I was just done. And I have not done photography in years. I wish I knew like the time frame of everything, but I really don't remember. I have a really bad memory. That's basically when I decided this year I want to get back into my passion. I want to be able to create, because that's kind of like a core thing for me. Wherever you go, there you are. I'm also neurodivergent, and I believe photography, if you know anything about autism, photography has always been my special interest. So even for me taking a break from it, I could always feel like this is something I need to do. This is something I was meant to do. So that's why this year, 2025, I want to rekindle my creativity, hopefully from the help of this book. It has a lot of great reviews, especially after I saw the video of Dochi talking about it. I just really want to read it, document my journey, and see how it works for me. And I don't think I plan on doing any more freelance photography. From now on, it's just going to be for me. and I'm gonna do it for myself. And I also think for me, trying to get into cosplay this year is really gonna encourage me to rekindle my photography, because I do like doing new creative things and switching things up. So it's kind of like combining all my knowledge to do something else, and I can do two creative things at once. So I am enjoying learning to do my makeup and hair, styling wigs, and doing costumes for cosplay. But also I think from taking my cosplay photos, it'll help me rekindle and rediscover my passion for photography and motivate me to start taking photos again. And I'm really not sure where I'm gonna go with my photography. I just know I really like creating different creative concepts and showing what I'm able to do. Of course, there's gonna be other photographers and cosplayers better than me, but I really just wanna do it as an outlet to help me with my mental health, and also just have hobbies. Hobbies are so important, y'all. You don't have to be creative to take photos or draw or anything like that. As long as it makes you happy, you should do it. But yeah, that's my background in photography. That's where I'm currently at. If you want to follow along and watch me as I start this course with The Artist's Way, I'm going to be documenting each week I do with the book. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see any other type of photography or creative videos by me, leave your suggestions down below in the comments and I'll see what I can do. But that's it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one.